Alright, I'm on the streets like a freak, walking around, recording something. I used to do this a bit more. When I was unemployed, it felt like I didn't have to care so much. I didn't have some sort of reputation to uphold. But now that I have a fine job at a tech company, I wonder if my credibility is somehow on the line here. Coming at you from the streets of Nishiogi-Kubo in Tokyo. This is the Matty B Files, the DABWM series. Drink a beer with me, walk with me. What I'm worried about music, the technology thing in music. Not the fact that people use like samplers and they don't learn real instruments. There's really cool techno EDM. That's all fine. That's all the human creative spirit. But what I'm talking about is more of the back end technology. It's as somebody who grew up playing a lot of folk music, listening to Johnny Cash, and not really being involved in a high-tech industry. Now that I am, and I have to research a lot, I end up reading a lot of leaked documents, WikiLeaks, analyzing current trends in China regarding their AI capability and potential weapons, digital weapons, as well as looking at investment trends and IoT. It's quite a weird dichotomy for my life to be like. I'm also a drummer, right? So, drummers using sticks to hit on animal skins in the as a root form of it, and this very primal thing. I was practicing acoustic guitar earlier today, and I don't use a pick, so I use my fingers and my fingernails, and like I can feel the metallic strings on my fingernails making physical sound. And then spending hours and hours every day looking at all of this next level technology that's in the pipeline. And I think I've developed a different understanding of these buzzwords because I'm looking at the investment angle and the backbone, whereas most people receive the consumer shine, the crazy product or some sort of news report where the journalist doesn't really understand the technology and they just compare it to Hollywood movies, and then that promulgates through the public sphere, and the public's understanding is based on a clueless reporter's conflating fiction with fact, and that's somehow real news. So I worry about music and about culture. I live in Japan, and I'm not going to release any company secrets or even names or anything like that, but the company I work for deals with America and China. Actually, most of the cell phone companies deal with each other. It doesn't matter if you're a Chinese company or a Japanese company or an American company. You're making deals with Ericsson or something like that. You're using each other's technology at one level or another. There might be some laws and regulations, but they all meet. They're all in it together. They all benefit from the advancement of their own technologies. So they set up a framework and compete within it. One thing, though, is when I consider some of these arguments that I largely hear from the American sphere, the idea of rights or privacy, and how these arguments are actually getting in the way of building up the technology itself, while other countries that don't care about individual rights so much, where the state has a lot of authority, are just plowing well ahead. China. They have, this is coming from BBC News, they have a social credit system where they look at all of your work data, your banking data, your savings probably, your social media presence, and this is all being tracked through your smartphone, metadata, and actual physical data. I mean, you got GPS location, electronic payment systems, social media, your social life, all being put onto one thing. And the government's just like, thank you. We're going to turn that all into data, and based on your financial status, the psychology as we understand it by mapping out your psychological data, by that it's by reading your face, your biometrics, whether it's accurate or not, there will be a profile of you. That's another dangerous thing, whether or not it's accurate, because they can establish by looking at your biometric data, it turns your emotions into data. And then that data is calculated and compared with, 800 million people every second. And from that, they can create categories of psychological subsets. And that's actually what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Whether it's accurate or not, I don't know. But that's what they're doing. And then they will suggest partners for you. I don't mean business partners or religious partners, like a mate. So they put all of your data, calculate your data, compare your data, other people's data, and then determine who you should marry. Whoa, that's very interesting. Was there a discussion about this? No. Whereas in the United States, everyone is trying to sway topics like gender and pronouns. So while one place is being really, really stupid by talking about gender pronouns, the other place is deploying the next wave of technology that can then be weaponized and used on other societies. Did you know that there are efforts that the Chinese government is using to actually promote social justice in America because it makes America dumber? That's a program. They're looking to weaken their enemies. So if they can find ways to, whatever they deem it to be, create a social society based on credit scores and mapping out your emotions, well, then they can also turn that into a chaos weapon where they can flip the script, as it were, and introduce from a very technological perspective harmful ideologies into other countries to prevent them from developing the technology that will give that country a leg up. 5G is not an extension of 3G to 4G. It's like going from a horse-pulled buggy into a Ferrari that can fly through space. That's the difference. And so with this deployment comes a huge technological advantage, and if that technological advantage can be manipulated to stunt other nations' growths, like weird growths on their necks, well, then they will. So how does this apply to music, Matt? Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself. I'm trying to bridge the gap here. And one thing is that within the music sphere, a lot of musicians are also very left-wing activists. A lot of shows, we'll have charity functions, which are fine, but it makes it less fun, and it focuses everybody on paying attention to something shitty rather than attracting people into a room to have fun. I was actually this was in Vancouver over Christmas. I went to see the Nutcracker, a ballet. Surprise, surprise, it was my girlfriend's idea. So I went, and we're sitting in a place called like Alexander Graham Hall, about to watch ballet written by some guy named Tchaikovsky. And the presenter comes out, this tall blonde woman, and she says into the microphone, "First of all, I would like to acknowledge that we are having this event on unceded First Nations territory, and we would like to extend our thanks to them for allowing us to have an event here tonight." I'm like, whoa, first of all, unceded? So you want to give it back? I like Indians, First Nations people, depending where you go, they like to be called different things. But I paid $200 for that show, and I step in the room, and you start bringing up genocide. Fuck you very much. So right off the bat, you're taking something being held in a place called Alexander Graham Bell Hall or some shit. We're about to watch ballet, which is as un-Indian as it gets, and you bring up genocide right off the bat. So, that is not the right approach to music. How does that tie with technology? Well, it's the aversion to the technology that gives it a disadvantage. So, for example, if we decided to use more of this technology and avoid some of the activism, then we could be going in an actual place instead of, or rather than, an unplace, unceded land. What does that mean? How are we going to get there? I'm standing on unceded territory. Oh, really? Okay. Good luck with that. Let me know how that turns out in 5 years. Let me know how that goes after you spend 5 years of your life fighting over unceded land while another country is using the latest technology to advance its citizens in every possible degree imaginable. Yeah, so while you're quibbling over this so-called unceded land, another country has managed a way to implement a facial recognition system into its society that can recognize 800 million people within a few seconds. And then they're going to use that on you. It's like an arms race. So regarding music, I want to use this technology in music, to be honest. I don't know how, though, because the current options are very much not in a musician's favor. It looks to me that the biggest musicians are thought control puppets that prevent people from actually going in, like celebrity obsession, removing the meaning in lyrics, having people write your songs for you, this kind of what's it like, a cog in the machine, 50 cogs per each song, where by the end of it there's not one shred of individuality except for the false prophet on the stage trying to convince you that it actually means something, where it's really just about dumbing everybody down and selling, I don't know, whatever, some sort of consumer product. And for the nobodies like me, we're left with existing infrastructure, legacy technology. There really is no CD industry anymore, folks. Musicians will hawk their CDs on you, but really the only reason you buy a CD is to support the artist, not because you actually want the CD. Maybe a small percentage of people want a CD collection, but the new media is not CD friendly. You can stream everything on YouTube from your phone, or you can bring around one device that only does one thing, a portable CD player. When's the last time you saw one of those for sale? Yet all these musicians are still trying to sell CDs. Well, what about SoundCloud? Yeah, that's something that's for free, but you can spread your voice. Yeah, it's one song on the whole internet. Good luck with that. Good luck with that 3-minute long piece of audio data. But it was played over 35,000 times. Did anyone actually listen to more than 3 seconds of it? Because if you listen to something for 3 seconds, the free advertising agency that you're using is going to tell you that 35,000 people listened to it, even though the average listen was 3 or 4 or 5 seconds. Good way to tell, though, is if people leave comments, especially in the middle of a SoundCloud song, like, that was a cool solo. Then you know you've hit some sort of real interaction, even though you're not going to make any money off of it. So if you went to a studio and learned a new song, wrote the song, learned it, recruited musicians, went to a studio, hired an engineer, well, then you've successfully had one comment left on your SoundCloud web page that's not even your web page. So this is a weird system, and it needs to change. It must change, but how? I do like the Jamcast that I'm doing to musicians, room, and we jam it out and then upload it and listen to it. That last Jamcast 7 with Nicholas Faraguna, it got some decent download numbers. So, well, that's not making any money either, man. No, but it's saving money. So I don't need to go to a studio as a band and play high rent, or pay for the rent, and some of the other bands that I've been doing, pay for the studio space, and then set up a live show, promote the live show, go 4 hours early to the live show to do a sound check, eat out, and then play for 45 minutes and go home. Oh, sounds like a real tough life. I don't know. There was more incentivization to do it about 10 years ago when you could sell 10, 15 CDs and and then you do that a few times and the profit margins really begin to separate between 1 to 2 CDs to 10 to 15 CDs. Try doing that 12, 15 times and you can see the radical differentiation between the amount of money coming into your pockets versus somebody leaving a comment on SoundCloud.com after Guitar Player does a fantastic solo. So, how do we get this technology into the hands of musicians? Because it's this whole mid-range of musicians, like not the famous ones and not the funny shitty ones that don't really know how to play their music but upload like funny music videos to YouTube. There's like this whole generation, this whole demography within the musician spectrum. I would say between 28 years old to 45 years old that have the chops, have the songs, but the distribution network available to them is so not removed. I'm trying to say, like, not dismantled, but disassociative, where one thing technically links to another thing, but you have to manage your video uploads and manage your SoundCloud uploads, and everyone's playing these number games, but no one's getting paid. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that we need to start finding ways to use this technology to spread your music your way by yourself. In effect, you need to use, I'm talking to musicians here, we need to find ways to turn music into weapons, to digital weapons. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves, us musicians, on the receiving end of these digital weapons. So you're saying it's like your neighbor's building a gun, so you build a bigger one? No. I'm saying entire countries are setting up an infrastructure and are intending to deliver it to us in one way or another. And it's up to us to either prepare for it or get ready to use it in our own way instead of it being used their way. So that's my concern, and that's kind of where I am with my thought process at the moment. Waking up in the morning and playing some acoustic guitar, going to this massive tech company in Tokyo and researching this shit out of IoT and AI and investment and leaks and crimes and weapons, leaked digital weapons. And then going to maybe a concert or a cafe after work, or maybe going home and practicing some drums. So that's where I am right now. And that's why this podcast was about that, because I'm trying to connect music to the technology so that musicians are able to use it instead of these fucking engineering geeks that decide like to make it for us when they don't even know what's going on in our lives, like SoundCloud and CD Baby. This is not the answer. This is hardly an answer. There's all these new avenues for technology and music, but musicians are still thinking about it like it's 1975 and we're the Rolling Stones and we're going to get a record deal and we're going to have sound engineers with Newman microphones and we're going to get an album released and we're going to care about its position in the ranks. It's not how it's going. And the alternative, the current status of it, is to give it away for free, all of it online, and suck it up, Buttercup, because it's free. So I'm going to continue to try to use my own channel, my own tube of information. I know Louis C.K. is not popular right now, but he sold all of his tickets and all of his TV shows that he did, not all, but a great deal of it, directly and only through his website. So if you wanted to get it, you had to go to his website, give him the money. No fuss, no muss. Numbers come in, masturbating in front of other women goes up, everybody's happy. Except, well, I wonder how many of the women liked it. Oh yeah, famous man's masturbating in front of me. This is way different than my usual day. Therefore, I kind of like it. How many of them did that, you think? They should be coming forward. Actually, I enjoyed it when this creepy orange bald man jerked off in front of me, so hashtag not me too. So I would like to see other musicians make their own music, which they're doing, but make their own music available online their own way. And we can do it. We can use this technology to weaponize music to get ready for the next wave of people that will try to use it for us, because they haven't been able to make it work. And I'm tired of everybody talking about rights. We should be talking about using the technology to weaponize our music before it gets weaponized against us. Please remember to like and subscribe and share this podcast with all your other musician friends or musicians you know. Let them know that this is an argument now and that they should be thinking about this too. If they want to contact me, all you need to do is plug Matty B Files podcast into a search engine and something will pop up and a contact mechanism will be there. And I'll read it, and I'll get back to you. Until then, take it easy, use artificial intelligence as a weapon, and I'll see you next time.